What's going on, everybody? It's showtime. That's right. It is Truth Will Set You Free, episode number lucky 77. We have made it 77 weeks here at Truth Will Set You Free. We've got Soonie, the middle child, Casey, Optimus Prime, and all of his fantastic different names that he comes up with. Easy E up in the hizzy. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Start sharing this out there if you haven't gotten the memo. Facebook has even admitted that they are going to cut the amount of people in our visibility because we spread what is deemed as false news. So share this out there. Help us out. You can't get any truer than truth, but apparently you can in 2021. This is also a special day of remembrance in this country. So Casey, if you want, give a shout out to our military and to Pearl Harbor Day, etc. Casey, what's up?
Yeah, all in all, just I remember what Pearl Harbor started. Like it was a big unity day for America. We lost a lot of lives, started a war that we went through, and we want to make sure we remember all of our veterans and everybody in our military that has went through that sacrifice. And remember that day so we can try to avoid it again in the future. But it's a great day to think back on and reflect on our past and our history.
It's like what they talk about a lot. Great times create weak men, and that's kind of where we were at that place. We had the strongest country in the world. We had the best military. We had all these amazing things. And that is what made America great. It's what it still makes it great. But at the time they were considered, they said they were playboys. The military was not taking things serious. They didn't realize, and they were surprise attacked, just like our democracy is today, but it's coming from inside the country instead of the Japanese military. So it's very interesting, and it's a day to think about. We talk a lot about 9/11 around that time, and I think Pearl Harbor Day is another day to realize that if you are not being vigilant, if you are not standing up to the Constitution, whether you believe in somebody else's beliefs or not, if you are not standing up to oppression, we can lead ourselves down that same path, whether it be internally or from countries that would love to rape and pillage our resources and what makes America great. So as a memory to that, as a remembrance, stay vigilant, stay awake, and stay strong in American values, and continue to share this video out. Yeah. How you doing? How you doing, Soonie?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Good. You look you look a little sleepy. We got to pep you up in the upper corner. What's going on, UNC?
I'm exhausted, man. I've been battling social media trolls. I'm exhausted. I don't have it in me today.
We're gonna be talking about a lot of topics. We'll touch on near the end of the show. I know if you guys have watched Shuni's stuff, she had a little combo with Blexit yesterday, Lady MAGA, and we'll talk about that. We're also going to be talking about the parents being charged in Michigan. Should they be charged? Censorship, because Soonie has now lost, I think, her 38th page, and we were banned for a day, and I don't know if we can be any more careful with our verbiage here at BeTheChange. We're going to talk about the Nuremberg Code in regards to the EU chief and find some truth in that, because some of it has been misleading. And if we get to it, little Don Lemon with Jussie Smollett, BFFs, partners in crime, holding hands with text messages. We'll talk about all of that coming up on Truth Will Set You Free, episode number 70.
Shout out to Bryson. He was on that show with me as well. Bryson Gray. He's still with me.
Yeah, I saw she's had multiple pages taken down. Share this out. Yeah, if you guys can't notice, there is about 70 people less than would typically be watching right now. Shocker. So Facebook did what they said they would. With that said, let's go and get the party started. Kicking the tires, lighting the fires. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Episode number 77 of Truth Will Set You Free on Pearl Harbor Day, right here in this United States of America, except for Soonie. She is stationed in Japan. Her husband's stationed in Japan, which means she's stationed in Japan. We have got the topics of Blexit Utah, parents being charged in Michigan. This is a first time parents are truly a first time. In terms of parents being charged in something like this. Is it right? Should they be? Why should they be? Censorship. Where does freedom of speech on social media stop and start? Talk a little bit about the Nuremberg Code and regards to the EU chief statements. Is it truth? Is it not truth? And of course, if we get to Don Lemon and Jussie Smollett. So ladies and gentlemen, it's time for episode number 77 of Truth Will Set You Free. Easy is very short right now, if you haven't noticed. He also has a gigantic growth on his face.
It's all the meth.
That is a good looking shiner. Can you explain to everybody what that is, Easy? Because it's scaring the small children.
He got in a fight with a bum downtown.
No, it was with his tweezers.
There was a homeless man and a hair. It's all bad. Listen. Treat the face with respect.
Love it.
God didn't treat yours with respect, so why should we?
Oh, man.
Listen, when you deal with a beard like this, everybody here that has had one, Kevin can't be included, has eventually dealt with an ingrown hair. And I dealt with it in the inappropriate way.
What are you talking about? They thought you were the homeless man in the fight, okay?
That's what happened. Want to give a shout out. It looks like Rachel Altman's watching. Haven't had her on in a while. I know she's doing big things. She's a big libertarian. She worked as part of the Rand Paul campaign. If she is still listening, if you ever want to come back on, please hop back up here. Would love to have it. All right, let's do what's going on, Right Wing Angel. Let's go ahead and do some real quick housekeeping. If we haven't talked about it yet, as a reminder, we have the big event coming to Dallas. Everybody that you see on the screen, minus the Japanese mafia in the upper right corner, who is going to be in Japan. All of us will be there. So she was unmuting. I thought she was going to say something like, "Go."
I was going to say the most important person here, but
Is that just because you're black?
I mean, I wasn't going to say.
There are far more interesting things about me than being black. No.
Oh, this is acting weird. I'm trying to put it in the chat, but we've got the Great American Summit. It's not letting me put it. It's so weird. All right, let's see. There we go. There it is right there. Go ahead and click on the link, guys. You're going to see it up on the screen. For more, where in Dallas? Let's see. When in Dallas, that's where I'm at. Oh,
Mo, shout out to Mo in the chat. Oliver's in the chat.
Mo,
the whole
what's
gang
going
is
on?
Here. Gang.
It is 7th and 8th in Las Colinas, a.k.a. Irving, a.k.a. DFW. We have got Ian Smith. We have got Nick Vucevic. I'm getting better with the name. Vujicic. There it is. Hard name. You've got Jakub Boyens. Who else am I thinking of? Ryan Weaver. David Webb from Fox News. Just go to that website. You'll see all the speakers. We would love to have you there. It would be an honor, Mo. I would love to actually meet you in person. I'm actually Fort Worth area. So there's that. If you guys ever want to check out our podcast, just go to, what did she say? You live it? Okay. Then you really have, if you're not there.
Red Pill Chick is in the house, man.
Punch you down. What's up, Red Pill Mix
IG
Chick?
is in here deep. I appreciate the support.
If I had the funds, you'd go. We as of right now, we haven't decided if we're doing a digital version of the event, but that would probably be less money if you can't travel. But we'll let you know as that comes. Lisa, what's going on? I know you and I have been talking. She is helping us promote this event, and hopefully I can't wait to meet her there as well. So again, huge names in patriotism. I'm not even going to say conservative or Democrat or liberal. It is people that are looking to find a business-minded way and a power in numbers way to get our country back, to get us back running. Bradley, for example, businessman, going to be one of the speakers as well, former military, etc. So make sure you check out that event. Secondly, if you ever want to listen to our podcast, this is the way that, if certain things get taken down, make sure you're following the podcast, #BeTheChange.com/podcast. And if you can't tell, we are rocking some killer gear right now. If you go to the Awake Not Woke store, so Easy's got his Awake shirt on, IG gang. You've got the Unveed Lives Matter with Kevin. You've got the Let's Go Brandon with Casey rocking the Awake Not Woke hat, and then Soonie is wearing a North Carolina hat today. But she typically wears her Make America Think Again gear, which is also on there as well. We have new dad hats available, Let's Go Brandon, and a whole holiday line of fun stuff. You can't beat this stuff. Okay.
Do I need to go get a shirt on? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Did I not get the memo?
You don't know. It's all good. It's all good.
I'm not prepared.
You're the most.
I'll go get a shirt
important
right
person.
now.
You're the most important person on the show.
It's like, man, we shouldn't have moved these shows to Tuesdays. I guess we really messed up our schedule.
So we decided until Christmas we were going to do Omicron for 20% off.
Thank you. Hey, let them know.
Hey, that'll be on Sudie's page. Can you imagine? I got to bring this up. Can you imagine a white dude's company, Be the Change, having a repeal the 19th shirt on his website?
I would wear the snot out of that, Anthony.
Okay, exactly.
Beta.
White dude. So we decided our typical code is Awake for 15% off.
Delta
Stop
variant
hitting.
here.
Who keeps hitting the 15% button? Guys, stop. So it is Omicron for 20% off because as of yet it kills nobody and just drives everybody into a panic. So you guys are having fun with that, aren't you? All right, let's start the show. And Soonie gets back wearing a shirt. Apparently, only an alpha man can do that. Cool. I will if that means me not wearing a repeal the 19th shirt makes me not alpha. I'll take the L on this one. I will take the L.
I'm telling you.
Facts.
There's a throw the 16. So throw the 16th in there as well. Repeal the 1619 project. Let's go.
I mean, that
Good
one.
luck with that. I don't know how that goes.
Disagree.
I know, dude.
All right.
The 16th is taxes, guys. I don't see what's so bad about that.
Let me know how that goes.
This show is Truth Will Set You Free. So I want to get to truth that may not be the popular truth on our conservative audience, predominantly conservative audience, because we did a little bit of research, looked at it a little bit. There's a lot of, not that there's not some serious negatives to this. That's a double negative. But the Nuremberg Code, there's these rumors, these comments that the EU chief has a plan to gut the Nuremberg Code. If you look it up on PolitiFact, like Casey did, he'll explain a little bit about that. Ultimately, she never said that she wants to get rid of the Nuremberg Code, but there is some syntax that we will get into. And there, Soonie is wearing the Fight Against Tyranny shirt, which is also on the Awake Not Woke store. Okay. Taxation is theft, and right now taxation is without representation in this country because there is half of the country that disagrees with everything that we're being taxed for. Like the V's, they're not free. My tax dollars is without representation because on top of me paying for other people's V, I am also being affected from a job perspective, like many others are, by not getting V. So taxation is theft. That'd actually be maybe she's saying that'd be a good shirt, which it would be.
Shirt. You can't.
I think you'd be the first one to ever say that.
We'd be right hot off the presses. You're an asshole, Kevin. Okay. Who wants to talk about the Nuremberg Code first? Casey, do you want to actually? I'm going to direct it to you. Talk about what PolitiFact said regarding the Nuremberg Code and the EU chief.
And of course, I closed out of that tab. Give me 2 seconds. But yeah,
I told you to leave it up.
I know I accidentally did it. Leave me alone.
Kevin, go ahead.
So people have said that taking something without their consent violates the Nuremberg Code, being forced to do it. The argument being made as to why it's not is that only pertains to experimentation and experimental drugs. And they say because it's all these things have, how do I call it? The Jabsination has gone through clinical trials, supposedly. It no longer qualifies as experimental. We all know that's bull spit. And that there is absolutely full clinical trials have never taken place. We are very much within the experimental phase. And if you look into it, we are not even out of the experimental phase because these companies, specifically things like Pfizer, cannot and will not actually carry out experiments and testing the way they should. I think out of like 100 some odd testing facilities that they were supposed to have and experimental facilities they were supposed to have, they only saw 19 of them. So the argument being made is that because these drugs have been approved, it does not violate the Nuremberg Code. But
approved
we all
in
know.
record time, might add. And I think Casey's going to go ahead and say what this one says. By the way, I totally forgot. I do want to get to talking about Cash in a little bit. What's going on with him not being able to see his children and the 13-year-old that was coerced into taking a jab with pizza. Anyways, Casey, what does it say up on the PolitiFact?
So what it's saying is the reason, in really summarize it real quick, it's pretty much saying that it did not say the Nuremberg Code should be disregarded and did not mention the treaty in the December 1st, 2021 press conference. Von der Leyen, I can never say that name, called for a discussion about mandatory COVID-19 vaccination within the European Union as a way to increase vaccination rates. But overall, it's could it be implied, possibly, that they are implying this, but it was not explicitly called out that they want to get remove the Nuremberg Code to be able to force vaccinations.
We'll just call her Ursula from this point. It's a little bit easier.
That's fitting.
So, Soonie or Easy, do you have anything on this? No. Easy and Soonie are both muted in sync. It's like they planned that.
No, I have nothing to say about the experimentation of a jab. Or the lack thereof, whatever was taken out of context. No, you guys cleared it up. I don't think I need to say anything. Good job.
Yeah.
Fact check.
Yep, I think the fact check was done. I will say, look, guys, Omicron, Delta, Kung Flu in general. Just, get your jab and shut the hell up, would you?
So honestly, when you're looking at this, and I wanted to delve more. We talk about the Nuremberg Code. I've not spent as much time on it until I did a little bit today, and then now we did the fact check, which you always have to read the fine print of the fact check, which it's a yes and no type situation. She made it very clear that vaccines may soon be mandatory or compulsory, which based on technically these are all EUA except for one version, which means unless they were forcing everyone to take that Pfizer blah 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 BioNTech version, technically this isn't. It is forcing you to do something on a level that is it is going against the Nuremberg Code. I think the concept of them saying this and it's very hard. In March of 2020, I saw one country, I believe it was Denmark, say when there is a V, this is March of 2020, when there is a V, it will become a legal thing for the people of Denmark to be vaccinated. I don't know how to, it's literally so hard to use words these days. So anyways, so with all that, I'm like, all right, this is the beginning of issues relating to the Nuremberg Code. We are not able to see the testing until 2076, I believe. It has been rushed to market. They have been working on mRNA stuff for 20 years. It's not that experimental, but this specific shot is experimental in terms of what it's doing to people.
Robert Malone, the guy who developed, Dr. Robert Malone, the guy who developed the mRNA vaccine, has talked about how developed the mRNA technology that they're doing, has talked about how this is not the way. It's not okay to be doing this. This is what's called, I said the word, this is called a leaky V. And the problem is that anytime you have a leaky V, you should only be giving it to the people that it is incredibly necessary for. Because let's take a look at the Omicron Persei 8 that has come out. Its symptoms are, by all accounts coming out of South Africa and everything, very mild. We have only heard about it infectinating those who are infectinating. Yeah. It is the only people we've seen it infecting are the people that have already been jabbed. It has what was I going to say? What happens when you have a leaky V is that the people like us who have the natural immunity that comes along with getting it, the virus doesn't really get to evolve around that because what we have is not specified and avoidable. What's happening and what I believe we're going to see with the Omicron virus, it is going to be we're getting closer and closer to that normal flu, normal cold level. And they're starting to be able to run out of reasons why they need to shut things down. And it's proving that their method behind the mass jabbing campaign is actually going to be counterproductive, because it's going to lead to more strains that are specifically going after people or specifically able to get around the V. And it's just going to end up being, hey, the best option is to get some natural immunity up in this house, right?
Yeah. So here's the interesting thing too. Here's Ursula on the full screen. This is her with the Pfizer CEO, I believe, about a month ago. So again, like, why is it that the head of somebody in this position is that buddy with the head of Pfizer? Let's be very clear that there's some shady shit going on.
Have you not seen how, like, pharmaceutical, like, people that are involved in the pharmaceutical industry either become CEOs after holding government positions or become move into government positions after having been on the board? Our former FDA advisor is currently on the board of Pfizer.
Right.
Like, it's disgusting what's going on over there. So
that's pretty funny. Omnish long. I like that. And yeah, as you said, it's the Omicron variant is showing some signs. We'll talk about that as a part of the censorship part of the show, because that's what got me in trouble on a post on BeTheChange. So Nuremberg Code, not totally true. So we want to be very clear about that. But at the same time, I mean, if it walks like a duck, it could be a duck. So, and a part. What do you mean?
Why did you just totally bomb that like nice?
I was doing a Biden. If it walks like a duck, it does the duck things. Come on,
It must be a
So is
dog.
that your cover? Are you using Biden as a cover because you really bombed it in real life?
Pretty much. I was reading something at the same time, and I'm like, oh, my brain's not going in two different directions. I don't even remember what I was just talking about.
He's thinking about his full diaper right now, Soonie. Give him a break.
Hey, Joe Biden's racist. You know why? Because he blocked travel from South Africa. I just wanted to throw that in there.
Which
Oh
I
my
think he
God.
blocked it far too early, by the way.
Yeah.
So
South
this
Africa's pissed.
and they should be, because
Racist.
it didn't originate from there. They were the
No.
first ones to recognize it. But this is what I was looking for before. For people that don't actually know what the Nuremberg Code, it describes this. This is what I was doing when I was, screwing up the walk like a duck part. 1, the voluntary consent of the human subject is absolutely essential. This includes the consent being free of duress. The experiment should be so designed and based on the results of animal experimentation and a knowledge of the natural history of the disease and other problem under study that anticipated results will justify the performance of the experiment. The experiment should be conducted as to avoid all unnecessary physical and mental suffering and injury. No experiment should be conducted where there is a prior reason to believe that death or disabling injury will occur, except perhaps in those experiments where the experimental physicians also serve as subjects. Let's make sure that we give the maximum dose to those people. And lastly, the degree of risk has to be taken should never exceed that determined by the humanitarian importance of the problem to be solved by experiment. They could probably get away with that, but regardless, that is it. And yes, my butt has been wiped. Anyway, that's
Interesting.
Bruce, you just said the reality of it. Experiment. That's what it currently is.
Yeah, we are in the experimental phases. And yes, people, there has also been a bill introduced to Congress to require that the FDA release the the Pfizer trial files. Say that 5 times fast. Within 100 days.
Nice.
Pfizer trial files.
Good luck on that one. There's a reason why
Don't
Nancy
have it.
Pelosi's net worth is $100 million. All right, so let's move on
Blah.
to censorship. What do you say, Soonie? How many pages of yours?
I say that you can't talk about these things, actually.
Censored.
Canceled. Soonie,
Look.
how many pages? You're muted. Oh, I get it.
You muted me. That was you.
No, I didn't. That was Kevin.
I haven't touched this.
We-
Okay. I don't
We
believe
have
in
way too many
censorship,
chefs
unlike
in the
you.
kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
We're-
6. I've lost 6 pages.
6 pages. Have you, like, when you look at it, or when you ask them to explain why, have you gotten a reason? Have you gotten anything?
Well, you know what? It's not censorship due to me posting something that they don't want. It's censorship due to weird ass people not wanting me to talk. So what they do is they get their cronies together and they start to report our pages in mass, in a mass number. So I can make a new page. They'll put it up on their troll page. Hey, everybody, make sure you go report Sooni's page. And, it depends on how often they're reporting me. If they're reporting me every day, I can lose that page that day or the following day. It all just depends. So it's not Facebook, unfortunately. It's not Instagram. It's people. People are censoring people because they don't like what you're talking about.
See, I don't know if that's. I think there's more to it than that, because there's got to be some kind of trigger with you being a conservative page. Because we have reported those same pages in mass, and this is your boy Mitch, his friends, he knows who's doing these pages, and we have on the don't support Trump 01 through 07. When they get taken down, they get brought back up within 24 hours. Your accounts get permanently deleted. So I think there is something a little bit beyond just a bunch of people reporting you. We have a guy that stalks me. Everybody, you've been bugged by him. PTP has been bugged by him. I've reported. He has gone on our review page, said that I have admitted to human trafficking. And I reported it, and he says all these, and they say it doesn't go against community standards. I have other people report it doesn't go against community, stays up. So not only does his comment stay up, not only do these people's hateful comments stay up on your pages, on my pages, but I don't think you should be removed. Even if they're investigating, they just don't care because you've been flagged as a conservative account. That's my opinion.
Hey, it is what it is, man. Like, take my pages down. I'll come back up with another page. I've built a large following, so people are going to follow again. They're going to follow my YouTube. They're going to follow a TikTok. Whatever I make, they're going to follow. So I feel just exhausted from, they're doxing my family. When it gets personal like this, to where you're seeking out information on me, you're putting photos of my father, family members up, you're tagging my family members and shit, then it's different. Like, if you want to mess with me, I don't care. Report every page I have, I don't care. But it's getting to a point where it's getting personal, and they're going to find things on me or something inflammatory to say about me, to skew people's opinion and judgment of me, which is also cool. We live in America where idiots can do that, but legal matters or legal measures are being taken. I've been in contact with, I've got people that know people at Facebook. They're taking a look into this situation. Hopefully I have my page back within a couple of days. And this won't happen. This really is a call to action of Facebook to actually have people that are watching these accounts go down. If I haven't gotten anything flagged, like on that page, I never got anything flagged. Never been in IG jail, nothing, right? And all of a sudden my page is gone. I should be able to reach out to Instagram like, hey, my page is gone. What's going on? Well, due to COVID, we don't have any people here, and we have a large amount of cases coming in. Well, because you're not doing your job. So this will be and me and other influencers are doing this. Facebook, do your job. Like, do your job. It's like the wild, wild west on IG, bro. Same thing on TikTok. It's the wild, wild west. People can do whatever the F they want.
No, I mean,
I say the truth.
So what's crazy, Soonie? I shared. I haven't done a lot of TikTok in a while. I shared a video that I got off of TikTok. It was a video of inside one of the classrooms of the Michigan shooter, when the guy said, hey, bro, I'm at the door, or whatever. Hey, bro, check my badge out. And the kids were like, they ran. That other post had 4.5 million. No, it was up to 10 million views. I shared it. I shared it and changed it because it had a whole thing at the end about gun rights. It was this whole video, and then at the very end, just type, it just said, we have a gun problem, etc. I changed it to, we don't have a gun problem, we have got a crazy person problem, or something like that. It wasn't even judgmental like that. We have got a mental health problem. It was taken down in 4 minutes. 4 minutes, and I was banned from posting for 2 days. I'm like, I'm posting the exact same video with a little bit of verbiage difference at the end. So I think there's something different. And to this statement, where
Those
did it
people
go?
reporting you. That's all that is.
Not
It's
in
people
4
that you
minutes.
don't know
No way.
reporting you.
Not in 4 minutes. There is no way.
You don't know how these people work. It's different because we have investigations going. So information that I see them doing, I get a screenshot, I get a message. They have hundreds of people watching conservative pages specifically because they don't like you. I made a page and it was gone in 2 minutes.
Media Matters.
2 minutes.
Media Matters was built from the ground up specifically to do that. Media Matters.
Yes.
That's made
People
by
are
a man
crazy,
named Jorge
man.
Zorros, right?
Yeah.
Like
Pull
they
up one of those
specifically
pages.
do this.
I think it's, see, I'm going to go with it. I think there's an algorithm. I don't think it takes a lot of mass reporting at one time, because I can post other stuff on Instagram that I haven't had an issue, or on TikTok I haven't had an issue with. Sometimes it takes a week or 2 weeks for you to say that in 2 minutes your page got taken down, and in me 4 minutes I got a nick on TikTok. I don't think I haven't even posted anything in a while. I think there is a specific algorithm that follows pages like ours, and when they find something that they deem they can take down, they take it down incredibly fast. And I want to note on this. Where did you say so I'm gonna disagree. I think the, I'll just keep making another page. I think that's bullshit. You shouldn't have to. And the problem is, Soonie, you don't have, like, if you look at Ian Smith had a 400,000 page. It got banned after several months, or actually several years, and then he had 144,000 ish, and now he's back up to 60,000. He has a big enough following that he can rebuild. Soonie, when you go live on Instagram and you've got 30, 40 people watching, if you, and yes, you have a lot of people watching. If you had not been banned, Soonie, 87 times, your following would be in that higher level. You would have the 150 people watching every time you go live. So I think you shouldn't settle for, well, it's part of it, I'll just keep rebuilding. Screw that. This is starting to get to the point where it's bullshit. I don't care if they're quote unquote private entities. The algorithms put in place, the people that report these pages, etc., are doing such a disservice to the Constitution. And this is a business that is rooted in the United States of America, or used, I shouldn't say rooted, used in the United States of America. And there is public entities, people can trade stock, and they are regulated now in many ways by the government. This is not a private decision anymore. This is bullshit. It's tyranny, and it's authoritative.
All
So
you're doing is making an argument for alternative media sources. What you should do is get a morning rush hour 7 to 9 a.m. in the morning show Monday through Friday, like the Liberty Revolt is currently doing, starting on Monday, by the way. Had to drop that in there. But that's really what it comes down to. Rumble, Odyssey. As long as we are on their platforms, they are going to be able to continue to do this stuff. So that's what it comes down to.
Well,
I think there's a couple of things that happen though. There is some of this stuff is happening. Like, it is algorithmic in the sense that you are going to get recommended pages that are similar to yours, similar to content that you consume. Like, we know all of those are true. I think one of the interesting things that Mo just pointed out is that when you start to get rid of these, no other word for them, fake followers, suddenly you're engaged more with your core group, and you will see an improvement in those metrics across the board. And so, like, what Mo is saying is basically, like, every time that she goes and deletes followers that they're either not engaged, they're not participating, or worse, they may be the people reporting you or disliking your content. What it does is it narrows the group of who's involved, and therefore allows you to be spread more across a wider group. So I think it's both things. You get some censorship. You're going to get some people watching you like a hawk. You're going to get a little bit of the algorithm kind of already kicking your content in those directions. One of two, which is one that people either enjoy it or one that they're apt to report it. Because remember, it goes both ways. So if you don't like certain content and you're used to reporting it, you may see that content in front of you more often. because they want you reporting content. It's kind of a catch-22 issue. So understand that algorithms run both ways. I don't know that, like I said, I don't think the right thing to do is run away from the platform or run away from the username. I think it is like, we proved it kind of this week, which is when you fight back and you fight back with facts, you might get your shit back. Now, we kind of got deemed again, and it was a little bit more complicated than just like, hey, we told the truth, and so, screw you. But they were quick to jump on us for other stuff that had nothing to do with the factual evidence we gave. So I think censorship is a very delicate thing, and it is absolutely funneled into whatever you're seeing, whether you're the person who reports or the person who likes it. It is being funneled to you for a reason.
AZ, I do not appreciate you saying algorithms are a part of the LGB community. I don't care which ways they go. All right, this is not the issue. I do not care about the sexuality of an algorithm. Okay,
it's non-binary. Leave it alone. Non-binary.
No, it's entirely binary.
Thank you for putting that in, by the way. Like that is one of the most important things we can look at.
So the big thing to emphasize here that a lot of people, like, you guys are getting there, but you're not saying the actual word. The actual word is engagement. And that is what comes into play. When you have all of these followers and no engagement, you're not going to see the growth. You have to have real engagement. That's where I strongly believe in blocking people. I remove them. I get rid of them because they're a waste of my time, first of all. Second of all, I know they're not going to be any positive engagement in anything I do. So what's the point of keeping them around?
I also would like to...
If you can actually keep your audience and your followers engaged at all times, your growth can continue. Until then, you kind of stay stagnant. Yeah, you'll see a little bit here and there, but you'll stay. You'll just keep going.
I wonder if it has to do with the fact that people that come from specifically with the goal of reporting and trying to get us banned, the algorithm takes into account that they were recommended our video, came to it and blocked it as, okay, this is, we need to not have these people watching it, kind of a deal. So I wonder if blocking them means that because there's more positive engagement, the ratio of positive to negative engagement goes up, it's more recommended. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you that the more I report content from That's Not Right Politics, because I do all the time whenever it's factually incorrect, because a lot of times it is factually incorrect. The more I report them, the more I see their stuff on Instagram. I have to be totally honest with you.
Well, because you're engaging.
I know
that would contradict what I just suggested, though.
Yeah, that goes against what he just said because it's a different kind of engagement. So here's the interesting thing when it comes to what, and this will also be our segue into Omicron. So what I posted, if anybody doesn't know, I posted a commentary on the fact that, like we talked about Omicron earlier, as of December 4th, it had no attributed deaths according to the WHO. According to the WHO, on December 4th, after it had been essentially talked about for 10 days. Hold on a second. Been talked about for 10 days, and that means that it had been probably going on for about a month. No recorded deaths. I commented on that, and secondly, like somebody was saying earlier, there is a whole thought process called science that the coronavirus, the reason it's called corona, is the shape of the virus, which is similar. It's not similar. It's the exact same as a common cold. This is a much more dangerous common cold as is. But when it's starting to devolve into something less harmful, I just said, is it becoming the common cold? Is no need to freak out, etc. That's what I said. They first took the graphic down, said that was wrong, and then when they brought it back up, I made a commentary on how can that be squashed? How could that be quelled? How is that happening? And that post, when I slammed Facebook for censorship, they then gave us the one-day ban.
So I would like to point out, today, Dr. Richard Friedland, the CEO of Netcare Group, South Africa's largest private healthcare network, says that, and I quote, it seems, I think there is a silver lining here, and this may signal the end of COVID-19 with it attenuating itself to such an extent that it is highly contagious, but does not cause severe disease, which was going to happen eventually. That's how successful viruses replicate. We are approaching the end here. And I'm very interested to see over the next 2 weeks how much more we hear about Omicron, because we heard a lot about it a couple days ago, by the way. And I would like to point out Omicron is very far away in the alphabet from Delta. So I think it's very weird that its announcements lined up with the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, but that's another issue. But it's, guys, we're getting to the point where they are just not going to be able to do anything because the disease itself is evolving so that we stop caring about it. That's its goal.
Which doctors scientists and doctors in the very beginning said, typically virologists, they said eventually viruses will evolve and usually weaken over time, which is why Delta was very weird. Delta was weird that it got more severe, but now it might be showing signs of devolving. But we freaked out. They used words like mutations, which scares people. Like there's 32 mutations, all these different things, when it is a completely different world on this variant. And for some odd reason, you're not allowed to talk about it. And it's and that was terrifying that was pulled down, and that was what was deemed as harmful to the public. That is, it doesn't make that make sense. I don't understand. I don't.
Well, it's the reason that Delta, like, you gotta if you're gonna be into this stuff, you have to be intellectually honest, even if you're someone that buys into the fear mongering, because let's be real, Gibraltar, which has the world's highest vaccine rate, sorry I said it,
because vaccines are good. Vaccines are good. You got to take them all. They're the greatest things on the planet. Everybody should cancel.
Canceling all their Christmas festivities. Ireland, which is over 98%, is having its biggest outbreak yet, because when you use leaky vacations that are specific, the virus gets around it. And it's just like, yeah, you know what? People like us, the conspiracy theorists, like I've always say, the difference between conspiracy and reality is 6 months to a year. So
what, or in my case, it was a day, because Fauci came out today and literally said it appears as though it is not more dangerous than Delta, which was his nice way of saying we should not freak out. It's less dangerous than Delta. But he's like, we'll find out more in the next couple weeks. At this point, there's no need to panic, which was blatant evidence. Like the last couple weeks, banning travel to South Africa with not a serious case is, as Soonie would put it, stupid. Well, I'll say stupid. Soonie would say racist. Like, I mean, there's so many things wrong with banning travel to the country of origin, but not the country that actually recognized it first. It's just blatant.
You incentivize people to not report it, because it's like,
exactly.
They had no data on it other than it seems mild, and they put it out there, and then everyone's like, okay, cool. Know what your economy's going to shit. Let's go.
You know why? If you guys don't know this, the president of that country told Pfizer about, I think 4 days before, that they didn't need any more jabs.
Turn it off.
So he cut off their need for jabs, and ironically enough, they were the ones that are now blamed for the Omicron, and they also have the lowest V rates in the world in terms of countries of this size. I'm not saying that 2 and 2 equals 4, but it equals 4.
I will. I'll say it. So one of the things that I find just tremendously,
I'm ashamed.
Yeah. No, one of the things that we've lost our common sense about is that colds go around. And Kevin kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. Viruses do not ever intend to kill the host. It is not good for viability. And so one of the things that we have to recognize is that we've rushed. This all can go back to where we started from, which is we had a bad viral season. And whether you want to say COVID-19 was novel, or it was a iteration of a coronavirus that was unique to maybe that specific year and not so much to the variation that came of it. But one of the things that's important is to remember everybody locked themselves in their house. They got fearful. They didn't go out and associate. It is typical of viruses to become spread off into 1,000 different versions of themselves in order to continue to find suitable hosts. The good sign, and I think that we kind of touched on this a little bit, is that if Omicron is is exactly what they're saying it is, which is a relatively less potent for a disease manufacturing issue from a viral standpoint, then we've kind of gotten to a point where we can look at this and we can say it is now something that may be with us every year, but it is more conditioned to be like the normal cold that comes around with that. Now, I'm not saying that there's not potentially severe side effects, but from everything that we can look at, it seems that there are, at this point, data points showing that more people who are vaccinated are the ones that are contracting this. And with that, what you don't have is severe hospitalization. And yet, at the meantime, we have New York acting like this is the first variant that's ever come. They've canceled elective surgeries. You have the EU going to Plan B, which is essentially lock yourself inside your house, put a mask on while you're around any person. And, I think there's an argument to be made for, well, they needed an excuse for some stuff that was going on this week that is pretty gnarly. I mean, let's get real. There's some serious stuff going on in this Ghislaine Maxwell trial. Who's hearing about it? Nobody. We can't even dig up an article,
Oh, and Good Logic, guys. Here, I'll put it in. Good Logic is doing wonderful, wonderful, wonderful stuff on this.
Darren, you're invited. Please, you trolled the other day, and I know that we're supposed to be going against the algorithm, but come on over, baby. Would love to have a chat. You think that this is? I just want to remind you. I know you're talking. You say scientists don't know everything and have been wrong sometimes in the past. The guy that you're relying on, Dr. Fauci, in the 1980s. I just uncovered a video. I found a video of him in the 80s.
They called him Dr. Death.
Talking about when he was talking about pushing the pharmaceutical AZT, pushing it.
They called him Dr. Death.
He was, and I don't know how the gay community can even champion Dr. Fauci. As he killed so many of their people and also ostracized them back in the 1980s by, for a period of time, being the forefront doctor in the United States of America, saying that you could catch AIDS from familial contact, not sexual or drug contact, but being in the same room with a family member. I have that video. It's up on the Be The Change page. It's on the Instagram page. This is the guy that you're relying on. How he still has a job? Because he is willing to say whatever people tell him in order for pharmaceuticals to make money. So, anyways, what do we got? That's it. So Fauci, and yes, Darren, you are invited. I direct message you the other day. Of course, once it comes to having a real conversation, you're gone like the wind, like the frail man that you are. All right. So you can't say that. Let's see. Where's us? All right. So let's move on. So I know a couple people. We're gonna go Don Lemon real quick. I'm gonna explain what's going on with Cash, and then we're gonna end with Blexit. We've got a nice sharp show today. We're gonna finish this up pretty quick, unless Darren, in all of his beta-ness, wants to come on and actually have a conversation like an adult. So
you don't want that smoke.
Don. So I don't even know. Don Lemon. So that clip got you a second warning. Damn. All right. Well, it's still up. Anywho, Don Lemon is now being, after the Cuomo firing, is being linked to potentially communicating with Jussie Smollett. Is this a big deal? Is this not a big deal? I mean, Don Lemon should be gone anyways, but what are your thoughts on it? Who wants it?
No, he shouldn't be gone over this. It's not a big deal. Like, they're friends. What he should be gone over is the lawsuit against his very blatant sexual assault that occurred at a hotel bar that he is currently undergoing. That is what he should be fired over. This isn't like Chris and Andrew Cuomo. This is like, I just don't care. I care about the fact that he sexually assaulted another man and tried to get away with it. They tried to buy the dude off. They offered $500K in a settlement to the dude, and he said, no, we're not doing that.
So this is why I think it's actually a big. I mean, he should be fired for 8 million reasons, but this is why I think it's fascinating. He is the king of race bait. He is the king of trying to turn our country against each other, and he had an opportunity to see. He knew that they were coming for Smollett because he lied. And he protected somebody that was doing exactly what we say that Don Lemon does, which is separate the country, divide them by race, make up fake stories, sensationalize racism, and he's doing it right here. I know Darren's still
Pause.
Yeah.
Screw this shit. So Australia currently has concentration camps going on for the those who are even COVID negative are required to stay in these concentration camps. And if you tell me that they're not concentration camps, ask yourself, why can't people leave? Why do manhunts occur when they try to leave? Let's put the numbers into perspective in Australia. More people have committed suicide and killed themselves in Australia since the beginning of the COVID outbreak than have died of COVID in Australia. Oh, by the way, that is in line with basically all of the statistics for the age ranges that actually matter when it comes to suicide and COVID. Every age group under the age of 40 that is not at risk for COVID is dying of freaking suicide, is dying of drug overdose. I cannot stand this shit because at the end of the day, your science is not reliable. The scientific method is when it's applied properly, but to say the science, it's not a fucking religion. It's a process by which you take in data, you analyze it, you ask questions, you put it out there, and more people ask questions. Science is not science is a process.
Boom. Soonie, what do you got?
I was just going to say, who gives a damn about Australia? For me, we have more problems at home, man.
Yeah,
who
but
gives a shit about Australia? Australia is not America. We can't do anything for them. We're not even doing anything in our own country. So what are we going to do in Australia?
But they're previewing what's happened, like everything that's happened in some of the countries that don't have guns. There's nothing of this. Oh, for real, Darren? Are you that? Wow. Okay. Anyways, why it's important in Australia, the European Union, is because we have been anywhere from 2 months to 6 months behind what's happening in other countries. I remember Canada and Australia. They were talking about children being forced to take or being asked to take the jab without parental consent. In Los Angeles, California, this week, they are bribing kids under the age of 18 with things. Today's thing was a piece of pizza. They bribed a 13-year-old who got the jab. And I would say this can't be happening in the United States of America. It happened in Australia a couple months ago, but not in the United States of America. The school board says their response, we do offer incentives to our students to take the V.
They didn't deny doing that though. They did when they in New York, when they were giving people burgers and fries and pizza to go get the shot.
Huge difference, Soonie, between an adult making a dumb choice and taking a child that is under the age.
All I'm saying is they're using the same tactics. It's not new. That's all I'm saying. I never said it's any less disgusting. But they've been bribing people to get the vaccine with food. I'm not shocked that they're doing it to kids.
But
so like 30,000 foot view on all of this is the government wants to get between you and your kids. They want to get between you and your ability to parent. They want to get between you and your ability to make medical decisions. They want to get between you and your ability to teach right from wrong. So I think, Soonie, what you're saying is, well, it doesn't really matter what's going on in Australia. Well, maybe not like for us on a daily basis, but if we're not careful, we end up in kind of what we're talking about here, which is they've successfully gotten between us in every facet of our lives, including our doctors, and now they want to come between us and our kids. They've been trying to do this for a long time in different facets. This is just, I think, an absolute distinction in the line between, okay, well, it's one thing to, teach sexual education and hand out condoms in class. We can all agree morally that's wrong. In some states like California, they do that. And you have already doctors who have stepped over these lines. They give abortions. They give medical advice to children. I'm simply making the case that it's prevalent in one place, and they've said unequivocally no, and we need to be paying attention to the lessons that they're coming back and saying, well, if I had known better, then maybe they wouldn't have gone back in the 90s and given their guns back, for example. Maybe they wouldn't have said, well, okay, like I guess we'll comply with a mask mandate this month. And like it's just a compilation of the entire excuse me, of the
And
entire
I think
world
it's
right
and
now.
I think it's
And I
important.
think that's
to
where
look,
it's relevant.
and I think it's important to look at the Australias, and that's why I said that, Soonie, is something like a child being coerced into a bodily choice in the United States of America is new. That is undoubtedly, unquestionably a new thing. Would you
No,
disagree with that?
I would disagree.
Would have
100%.
no E is not
Cough
true.
drop.
Yet. So what have
Cough drop.
children in terms of a shot, a drug, anything? What is a child in the United
Hormones.
States?
Hormones. They get coerced by their own parents.
I mean,
Okay, so
circumcision.
that's a parental decision. That's what I'm trying to say. There has never been something a child has been singled out on their body without the help of their parents, without
No.
the guide of their parents that they've been allowed to do. Name me
In
one.
California, they have.
That's
And
ridiculous.
hormones is one of them.
So a child
Thank
can
you.
go under. A child in
Doesn't make it
California.
okay.
A child in California can go without parental consent
Yes.
and go get
Yes.
hormones.
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Remember,
Yeah,
you
that-
have to be 18 for military service. You have to be 16 to drive. You have to be 18 to vote. You have to be 21 to drink and smoke. But you don't really have to have an age going for you if you want to go get hormones or an abortion. Just remember that.
Yeah, and it's particularly bad in California. So, like, I'll use that as the example because although Australia is bad, all these other places, California specifically is the dry run for the entire United States. As goes California, so goes the rest of the country in a lot of ways. And this is one of the problems that I see is that this is where a lot of this crap is born out of, is in this, we want to do best by the kids. Well, what they really want to do is get between you and your kids and make decisions for them without your consent. And California has been having a history of doing this now for, I think, 4 or 5 years at a minimum, if not a little bit longer. So I'm not contending to any specific issue other than the government can get the F out of my kid's life and they can get out of the decision-making between me, my doctor, and my child.
They
Period.
all target children. There's a reason why the Decepticons, all their stuff is about kids.
Exactly.
They're all,
That's
you know,
crazy.
Exactly.
going
It's
after
not new.
children in libraries, going after children in schools, because what are children? They're impressionable. They are everyone's favorite target. You see the same thing with Turning Point, right? It's college and high school kids, impressionable. Of course, the Republican Party and Donald Trump have been targeting it because children are impressionable, and that's what parents are supposed to do, is protect them. And this is removing their ability. And what you see in Australia 5 years ago, Australia was right behind the United States. If you're talking what America freedom looks like, Australia was right behind us. 25 years ago, before they gave all their guns back voluntarily, Australia was literally just America with weirder accents than the South. That's what
And
Australia
fosters.
was.
Yeah.
And crocodiles,
America
not
Junior.
alligators.
So
But
just so I can clarify the bill, because so in 2018, AB 2119 provided minors and non-minors in foster care the right. Is it only foster care? It might only be foster care. The right to make a decision of their gender identity with the use of hormone blockers. See, it's
Any person who seeks counsel from a school representative can make those decisions. So that typically means they have to go to a school council. I know in California, anyways. I can't say specifically other places, but anytime you go talk to a school counselor, that is considered a mental health professional. They do not require. Now, there will be a lot of times when they will err on the side of inflecting a parent's opinion. But there are stories up and down that state of absolute treachery when it comes to allowing kids to do things with no notification to parents.
I'm going to give Darren one more warning. So here's the deal. We've invited you on. So whoever your friends are the same people in the United States that don't allow freedom of thought, apparently, because there is plenty of people in Australia reporting this. So if you would like to come on again and talk about the vid and whatever.
Well, Darren, it's not that hard. It's not that hard to consider when, you know, they're doing this in China right now too, right? And ain't nobody seem to give a shit. You think that Australia is exempt because we're calling them medical? What are they calling them? Medical medical camps. You're fooled, buddy. Sorry. You come on the show. Tell us all about your opinion and how it makes sense.
After that, though, we're going to do what they say. So you said your last comment, yes, be scared of education, whatever that means. So any other comment after that, you're just
I am scared of education. I'm working on 2 freaking degrees. I've got another one, and I'm going to be going to law school. God damn it, am I scared of education? This shit crazy. Fucking sucks.
I'm going to be very clear. Mo, I don't necessarily care about what's happening in Australia. I care for the preview of what could be happening.
Australia is America without guns, and that's what we need to remember.
All right. So Smollett, I think we
so let's talk about Jesse, Juicy
Smollett.
I mean, I don't know how he's claiming that he's all right. That was it. You're gone. You're sorry, buddy. Bye.
Your ignorance is showing, Darren.
Yeah. Your unwillingness to speak, just like every idiot leftist on the planet. All right, so let's Don Lemon. Do we want to talk any more about him? I mean, I think Sooni's point was very valid, but at the same time, I think it's a big deal. Don Lemon's a piece of crap. So, anybody else on Don Lemon?
Nah, I mean not specific. I have to point out that it's really odd that this is like. He's dictating to the courts what words he does and does not want used. I think I brought it up backstage. He's asked the judge not to read his tweets out of a consensus that he feels like it would be too hard on the African American community to read back the words that he's written. At some point, guys, I think Sooni's made like a big issue out of this. Is like, if you're gonna be stupid, you ought to be able to be called out on it. And when you write the words and then you don't want them repeated in court, you look awfully mentally challenged in a very, very weird way.
Can I show a quick video?
Yeah,
of Australia.
Go for it, and then I'll talk about Cash real quick, and then we already talked about the 13.
It's a minute and a half, and
is it from a news source or not?
No, it's someone recording on their phone.
Okay, there we go.
All right, so.
Oh yeah, I've seen this.
Yeah, yep. For those who haven't seen it. Can you hear it?
We have to.
Yeah.
So am I allowed to go to the laundry? You're allowed to go to the laundry, but you got to wear a mask. Yeah. Yeah, righto.
It's a nice concentration camp, guys.
Right, so if I was sitting just here, which is right near the fence, why are these guys in a cabin that's right near the fence? It makes no sense, does it?
Yeah, but you can't leave your balcony to go to the fence to talk to somebody else.
So I just wanted to show that, just to like, how is that not just because they've got nice cabins? So you're telling me that if the Jews had been laying on really nice beds,
yeah,
it would have been okay.
They have, for people like Darren, they've got people that they have marketing campaign there of what it's supposed to look like, all these different things, and then there's the reality of what it does look like. That post could not be shared. He put it on his page. I posted on story, would not be shared. So
let's just one last thing. If it's not an internment camp / concentration camp, you wouldn't pursue the people that left.
Truth. All right, I'm gonna talk Cash real quick, and then we're gonna go to Blexit. Cash was jabbed in January, jabbed in what month are we in? October, and then November. He got the first and the second, strictly for the purpose of seeing his babies. That's the word he used. I want to see my babies. They also that afforded him the right to get a haircut like a normal human being, because he hadn't had a haircut in 8 months. And then there is the ability to go to church, which he could have done without. He said he could have done without, but he wanted to see his kid, his newborn. Whoever he could see that was his children, he wanted to see. They said, just get the jab. You'll be good to go. They don't need to be VI'd. He found out 2 weeks ago, when the trip had already been starting to get planned, which he couldn't even get the card. The paperwork is very difficult to get guests, that anybody under the age of 18 would not be allowed to see him. Just got told that after being forced to get the jab. They did give a carrot that said, in January, these rules might change. And at that point, any of your children under 18 that are eligible for the jab, if they get the jab, then you could visit your children, which he is refusing to allow his kids get the jab. That has to be illegal. This is somebody that is not convicted of the crime that he is being held specifically in this jail for. that's got to be criminal. I'm sorry. That's
No, there's
absolutely
going to
absurd.
be there's got to be some level of recompense for that.
That's horrible. Anyways, just wanted to give the update. Everybody asked about Cash a lot, so I wanted to give that update. I talked to him earlier today. He's just getting real frustrated because that was something he was looking forward to, and yeah, that's where we're at on that.
I just have to say, Mo, you have been spouting off in the comments, and I love it.
Yes.
She's been letting
Thank
people
you.
know.
Mo needs to come on the show as well sometime soon. We'll, maybe even next week if you're
Absolutely.
free. And Mo, I guess we're gonna meet at the Great American Summit too, or we'll meet sometime in Dallas.
Hey, Mo's gonna be there.
Well, Mo lives in Las Colinas, so she's got to come. The last thing I wanted to say about Cash is I had a discussion with the radio guy that is actually interviewing Marjorie Taylor Greene tomorrow. So hopefully some more of this information. He wanted to pass everything over to her, what's going on. Who knows in this country if anything ever happens, but at least she'll know. All right. Let's get into Blexit. You had a 2 hour and 30 something minute show last night, Soonie. Break it down for us.
I just called Blexit out. And not Blexit, I called the director out. And I called Lady Mag out. They're trying to infiltrate Blexit, and I think it's disrespectful. Blexit is not for anything gay. We don't really give a shit about what the log cabin group wants to do as far as their rights. And they couldn't give a valid explanation as to why log cabin or Lady MAGA, I almost called her Lady Gaga, would ever want anything to do with Blexit other than to, hey, we just want to infiltrate your group because we feel like you need help from gay people. And I gave him a firm no. We're not interested. Pretty much
So,
stay the fuck away.
I watched all of the Lady MAGA part, and then I watched part of the director. The director definitely seemed confused of his role with the event. The event that had Lady MAGA 100%. There was one point that he said where they have to be inclusive because they're a 501c3, and I do understand the 501c3 rules. That was something that was factual, and I get that. But he definitely tiptoed his way through the event, and I think you caught him at one point. What was the kind of the catch point of understanding that there is definitely some discrepancy in what happened with the event?
I'm sorry, what?
The discrepancy in terms of what the I think his name was John, in terms of what he said the role of Lady MAGA was, and what he said, or the Lady MAGA event that was put on, that Blexit did not have anything to do with it, but it did. And then that was the part where I think you kind of caught John.
He lied. He said, well, I believe in working with all patriots. And if they're going to help us, then I'm going to work with them. So I said, well, who approved it? Well, I did. Okay, so this was a Blexit event. Well, no, it wasn't a Blexit event. You don't know all your facts. Which he was not giving any facts outside of, you just don't know what you're talking about. Says, so who put up the graphic? Stuttering over his words. I'm like, bro, you're the director. You did these things. You approved it. Help me make sense of this. Didn't make any sense of it. So what I did was I started playing clips. I started pulling up graphics. I started asking him who created this. Well, Ryan did. So you knew Ryan created this. Yeah. And you still put it on the state website. Yeah. So you knew that Blexit was going to be there. You knew that the log cabin group was going to be there, and you knew Lady MAGA was going to post this. Well, anything I post on my private page, it's my private page. I'm like, bro, you are the state director. He danced around a whole bunch of stuff. I caught him on several different lies. He called the founding fathers bigots. He tried to use racism to get me to get distracted, which I'm not that person to do it with. Then we brought Ryan on. Ryan proceeded to lie repeatedly. I kept asking him, what does you being gay have to do with Blexit? Well, I'm fighting for your Second Amendment rights. So fight without telling me you're gay. Fight without dressing up as a woman. Well, it's not a woman. It's a character. Which is a what?
Can I ask you a question? So I agree with a lot of the stuff with your argument with John, and the calling the founding fathers big. That part I was like, all right. The only part I agreed with John truly on was about the understanding of 501c3. his point, and I know that skin color is not the same as sexuality. I understand that in the part with Bryson, but his point is everybody should have a Second Amendment right. Talking about Ryan, was it Brian? Whatever his name is. He was talking about everybody should have a right, and it got into a conversation about identity politics. So his statement was, or your statement to him was, what does being gay have to do with being a Republican, or being I guess, Republican, conservative, or whatever? Getting out of the statement, I think it's a little bit hypocritical, because Blexit is black. What does being black have to do with being a conservative?
I didn't choose to be black. I'm black. Blexit is to inform black people of the truth of what's going on. It directly targets black people because we make up the Democrat Party. So absolutely, this is who our target is.
So does the homosexual population.
They choose that. They didn't wake up one day and say, "Hey, I'm homosexual." And I think it's disrespectful to ever compare a homosexual to black, because we ain't got the same plight, and we never will. They have the same rights. They're not fighting for their rights. They have all the rights they were born with.
Yeah, I want to ask a question. I want to pose it to Soonie first, and then I want to pose it to the rest of the people, but I'm going to frame it before I ask it. So the conservative right claims to be against intersectionality, claims to say, look, it's not about, what your skin color is. It's about what your values, your beliefs are. It's content of your character, not color of your skin kind of deal, right? Yet, and this isn't going to go at Blexit because I actually support Blexit a lot. Yet, you see with Lady MAGA, you see with the Lincoln, the log cabin Republicans, why is it that though the conservative movement says that it doesn't care about intersectionality and in fact sees intersectionality as a part of the poison, they are so desperate to play the intersectional cards at every single opportunity they have, rather than telling Lady MAGA, hey, look, if you go by your real name and come up with ideas people want to hear, we'll prop you up, not just because you're a transgender who believes the same thing as everyone else here, right? Say, I don't know Lady MAGA's real name, but say it's Jane Doe, right?
It's if Ryan, you go by Ryan, R-Y-A-N.
Yeah. If you go by Ryan and stand on that stage and posit ideas that are new and interesting, we'll put you up there. But if the only thing bringing you up there is your intersectional card, we won't deal with it.
Thank you.
Why is it that you think that the conservative movement, not us, but the leaders of it, are so desperate to play into this versus sticking to the principle of not caring about it?
Because they're pandering. Because we need more votes. They're panicking at this point because a lot of people have said, look, the conservative messaging is off. Republicans, your messaging is off. So the first thing they do is let's go pander to this group. 1% of the population. You have Latinos. You have Native Americans. You have blacks. All of us are championing this party. It's like we're wearing the jersey every Sunday, showing up to support you, and you do nothing. You do nothing, but you pander to this group. You form alliances. It's a problem, man. And when they start to infiltrate and try to get on board with things that have nothing to do with being gay, you're a bigot. We get called bigots. You're a bigot. You're intolerant. How about no? My no means no, and I can tell you no. If you want to scream discrimination, prove it. The answer is no. It's just pandering. That's all it is. It's pandering 101.
I mean, based on the definition of bigot, when they're using it, it is. I mean, it is accurate, and I don't disagree with your statement. The definition of the word bigot is one who's strongly partial to one's own group, religion, race, politics, is intolerant of those who differ.
But we're not intolerant.
That's the definition of intolerance, is by saying that they do not belong anywhere near you in your group, fighting for.
But you're misrepresenting completely what I've said. What I said is, if you're going to lead with your sexuality, I don't want you a part of it. If you're going to say I'm not for identity politics, but then the first thing you identify about yourself is I'm a gay conservative, go to the left.
That's not being a bigot. Hold on. Blexit's name is Black Conservative.
Why is it called that?
because
of the
it's black
plantation.
conservatives.
What is their target? What are they trying to do? Are they saying that white people, you can't join? Are they saying that nobody else can be a part of Blexit? No. What they specialize is the black youth. It's a problem. When nobody's playing identity politics.
Can I frame it in this way? What Blexit is the acknowledgement that the Democratic Party has done a great job at manipulating 90+% of the black community in America and explaining why, if you are going to use black to identify yourself, here's why you should stay away from the Democratic Party. That's what its goal is to specifically explain why, if you are going to play I don't care if you're black trans, the part that's important is the black part. Here's why you, as a person who likes to ascribe to the what comes with being black in America, supposedly, right? This is why you should stay away from this side at the very least. Is that a good representation, Soonie?
Yes. Like you summed it up before. Like we're complaining about identity politics, all right? And then when people are like, "No, we're not doing that," join the fight. But stop shoving down my throat that you're gay. Stop walking around in outfits not of your gender, especially if you're going to be joining a conservative movement. It's a conservative movement. Yeah. And if people don't like it, honestly, I'm getting to the point where I don't really care. Because it's about good and evil at this point. It's not about your feelings and everybody being accepted and inclusion. It's not about that. It's about standing on your principles and your morals. And if I'm a bigot, if I'm intolerant, bro, call me what you want to call me.
No,
but I will give a person the shirt off my back.
I want to be
I'm the nicest person ever, but I'm not going to bend on my morals.
I'm going to be very clear. I'm just going by when they call you a bigot. I'm saying by definition, the reason they're using that is because they feel as though you are intolerant to what they are a part of. And when I watched Ryan talk to you, he was repeatedly say, it's not about my sexuality. It's about what you guys stand for. I want to support it. And I was trying to find the disconnect because you kept bringing it back to him being gay because he dresses up like a woman. But at the same time, his whole messaging, aside from this character that he's created, which gives him clout, which gives him a following, because guess what? A white gay dude that doesn't have a voice, I'm sorry, nobody's gonna just randomly put them on a platform. So he created a character that has a voice to speak to people that maybe I can't reach, or Soonie, you can't reach. And yes, they differ in the version of sexuality, but at the same time, the gay community, if they start becoming part of the conservative movement, they are not just voters, they're allies. There's people that are going to stand up for the black community, black children, etc. So it is a power in numbers mindset. So my question is, what is the benefit just besides standing on one specific moral? People smoke weed, people do drugs, they drink, they swear. Again, different levels against going against the Bible. Bryson did say something last night where he said nowhere in the Bible, nowhere, and I agree with Mo on this one. Nowhere in the Bible, he said, in the Bible it says you can't dress like a woman. There's things on homosexuality in there, but he actually took a statement that actually is not true. There's nowhere in the Bible it says
that's true. Yes, there is. It's in Deuteronomy. I know my Bible. It's in Deuteronomy. You're not supposed to dress as a man, and a woman is not supposed to dress as a man. It's in Deuteronomy.
But let's be real. The response to I am trans and conservatives are evil is not, hey, look, no, I'm conservative and here's a trans person to tell you that I'm not evil.
He was trans. He said that he's a cross-dresser. Did he ever say he was trans?
Transvestite.
The point is, why can't we as conservatives say, I don't want that representing me? Because I have every right to say, I don't want that representing me.
You do. You have the freedom to say that, but at the same time, don't we want people?
No.
So if I were to say, I don't like being around people that do certain things.
Then say it. I don't really care. Cool. You don't like being around it. Then we don't have to be around each other.
Anthony, where the disconnect is that Blexit is not saying this is why the Democrats are evil, therefore vote Republican. All it's saying is acknowledging what the Democratic Party has done. It's not saying you need to then be this. It's saying this is why you shouldn't do this. These two things are separate. And the using, if you truly don't care if someone is gay, right? why should them being gay be a reason why you're listening to them? I don't listen to
I'm
Lady
not saying
Maga
that.
because Lady Maga's never said a goddamn thing I give a shit about, that I haven't heard from Tucker Carlson, that I haven't heard from Mark Levine, that I haven't heard from Glenn
Great.
Beck.
Hold on. I've got
Yeah,
Kevin, and then I'm going to have Easy go.
Sorry.
Because the difference is there's a lot of gay Democrats that are going to look at Tucker Carlson as the biggest piece of shit on the planet, but they are going to listen, or people that are, say, ultra liberal that are gay allies that are like, we love the gay community, blah, blah, blah. I hate Tucker Carlson. They are going to listen to somebody like Lady Maga that can be on the same page as us 96% of their life, and they could speak to different people. If you want to alienate yourself from that, I will my thought process is that is a failure in order to grow a movement that can actually bring the world back to, or bring the country back to some semblance of power and number. There is such a disconnect from unity that's why I have a question about it. And I'll come back to one other point about when he talked about losing his job. Easy, go ahead.
Well, I'll just say this is that I think that we're trying to draw all sorts of similarities. These are two different things that are happening, and one of the things I will point out is that being black is not a choice that you don't get that choice in your lifetime. Being gay and acting on being homosexual is a choice to some degree. Now, I'm not going to sit here and debate till the cows come home about whether you're born with an attractiveness to a certain sexuality. What I will say is that it is a choice to act upon it. And so one of the things that I see, there's two sides of this argument, which one is that I think that Ryan actually did articulate yesterday in your live at some point that his goal and his intention is to see other gay conservatives whom it's kind of an antithetical sentence to me to say those things, because when you're gay, that means that you're acting upon those feelings and you're participating in that lifestyle. I would argue that is kind of antithetical to the conservative movement in and of itself. Now, that doesn't mean that there isn't a large umbrella of people who are looking to adhere to a more principled moral and value compass. And so I can see a point that can be made. And I'm simply saying that I think that it is a grift. I think that gay people and the Blexit movement bleeding together isn't necessarily talking about the reality of the situation, but there is some truth to both things, which is one you cannot choose, which is that the black community does not get to choose the skin that they're born in. They get to choose the way that they fight back in principle, particularly in political movements. Gay people get to choose how they behave based on a set of morals and principles that's laid out upon them through mostly Christian Judeo values. And to me, I think I can see how the gay community wants to attach to things like Blexit, saying, well, there are a plethora of people who are gay but don't necessarily want to act on it and feel like it's morally reprehensible for us to participate in homosexuality. And so I can understand an argument that wants to push those two things closer together. I think where Sooni's coming from, and I think this makes a lot of sense, is that it's a grift. It's a way for people to say, well, I'm a disenfranchised people too. I still want to be able to do this, and I want to end up over here in this light and in this community. I'm not saying that there isn't some validity to the argument of gay conservatives wanting to be more conservative, and there may be a whole slew of people that are willing to do that. I think that it comes down to the principle of one of two things, which is gay people get to choose on their sexuality and they get to act on their sexuality. Black people are inherently born in the skin you're in, and I think that comes with a different set of challenges that are not necessarily different in the sense that they are challenges that are overcomable, but they aren't necessarily intrinsic and for life, and also a tremendous part of decision making.
Can I ask a question
Sure.
to Soonie or Kevin? So it's Deuteronomy 22:5. I'm reading what you're talking about in terms of prohibits, but this is not one of the mortal sins. So that's an honest question,
Sin's
Soonie.
a sin, but it's
No, if it's hold on, you can't say that because we've
It's
talked
point
about drug
understood
use.
though. Like I just
We've
want to be
talked
clear.
about
Like
swearing.
there is a grift element to this.
no. I'm wearing a shirt that's made of different kinds of cloth right now. Okay, like that's a sin,
Right.
right? What you have to understand is the times. In the times, you weren't sodomy at all was not allowed. Let's be real. What it comes down to is butt sex was not allowed at all. Because they didn't understand germ theory. All they knew is that when you put your willy in a butthole and then you put it in a vagina, the woman got sick as shit, everything went wrong. We have to stop it. It's about not understanding germ theory. The same reason pork wasn't there, the same reason shellfish weren't allowed, because you didn't see the shit line. At the end of the day, that doesn't matter. What matters
acting on your sexual feelings is a choice. This is the same
unable
argument
to
that
understand.
pedophiles are trying to make right now, Jay. And I'm gonna call you out. If you say that gay people are gonna tell me that they were born that way and it's not a choice for them to act on their sexuality, then I'm gonna ask you to go talk to pedophiles and you figure out. You tell me who's lying. It is a choice to act on those feelings.
It doesn't matter.
How do we get to pick and choose what is what's an important?
I'm gonna make this, and then I'm honestly done talking about this. I'm not gonna fight with people about why Blexit and being gay has nothing to do with one or the other. Okay, people at Blexit have every right to say, "I don't want to work with you." It doesn't make me a bigot. It doesn't mean I'm intolerant. It doesn't mean I don't like you. I have gay family members. This argument is dead, bro. We don't have to work with them. Plain and simple.
That's
Go
true.
find another organization that is conservative that will be willing to work with you. But if you are leading with your sexuality, you can be gay. But be gay behind closed doors like I'm straight behind closed doors. I don't walk around screaming to the entire world, "Hey, I'm straight, accept me." Come fight the fight and be an American, or take that distraction somewhere else. Because what people aren't acknowledging is that he also said he talks to children about this weird shit, which is another thing we're fighting against. Nobody's talking about all the crazy stuff he said that he introduces to somebody else's child by walking around like that and saying, "I'm just crazy and it's just Halloween." It's a problem. It's a problem. And I'm so tired as a Black woman having to defend the fact that I'm Black, and I don't want to work with a group who is trying to attach themselves to civil rights that have nothing to do with them. I was born this way. You decided to be that way openly. I can't help what people see when they look at me.
Well, and the ultimate question I think that never got asked last night, unfortunately, and I think has a real big and important place is when you walk around in women's clothing. Soonie kind of touched on it. I don't want to have to explain this to my kids.
Thank you.
Right. And there is something to be said about projecting of sexuality that is significantly different than projecting the reality of a high voter block that has been hoodwinked and bamboozled, as we have talked about before. There's just a difference in those things. Now, I think there are some parallels, and if they're conservative people, they can use that conservative playbook to make a concerted effort to walk away. And I think the point that Soonie's making, and I think it's valid, which is, why do they have to be attached to Blexit?
Agreed.
To me, I think it's a fair argument to be made about a grift. And one of the things that I will hammer home real quick is, again, it is a choice whether you choose to act on those feelings or not. The same argument is being made in the pedophile world, and we have to protect our children at all costs. And so every time they get closer and closer to the conservative movement, the very first thing I would say is, are you still living that lifestyle? Because if you are, then okay, come over here and make better choices, but you have to understand how that lifestyle doesn't necessarily fit in the totality of those things.
Easy, do you think that you can pray the gay away?
No. But I do think people can have self-control, and I do think that sometimes, you know what? Like, if it leads to a celibate lifestyle, it leads to a celibate lifestyle. And I'm not going to sit here and preach the church and gospel to you. I'm just going to preach pragmatic realities, which is a homosexual couple does not beget life. And there is a whole point to that. As we all know, like, having kids is an important part of life. Whether you have them now or want them later, it doesn't matter. And one thing I will say is that homosexuality, whether you agree with it or not, and this isn't me saying, well, morally, I think you ought to do differently. It's me saying morally, I have a concern about where your argument stops. At least we know with the Blexit movement, that conversation ends, at least in my opinion, when you have people realize that community has been particularly preyed upon for years and years and years to pander to voting. And I think the argument that's being made from the gay community is, well, we're part of a community that is also being pandered to and being treated wrong. I simply would interject is that Black people aren't inherently doing anything necessarily wrong that needs to be fundamentally changed other than their knowledge base. Whereas the homosexuality thing is a morality thing. And we can talk about it in terms of pragmatic versus unpragmatic. But at the end of the day, there are things that happen when you sensationalize sexuality. And I think that one of those things is it begets it starts to get into a conversation that I quite frankly don't want to have to present to my child
question.
Experiment everything in your life in order to figure out fundamentally what you do and don't like. So this doesn't make sense in real life.
So this is for Soonie because I get the cross-dressing leading with sexuality. What if somebody is just blatantly gay but has a huge voice for the conservative community, just so happens to be Black? Take Christian Walker, for example. I've never heard him talk about being gay as boyfriends or anything like that. It's obvious. It's blatant. He's gay. He also has a huge voice in conservatism. And he's Black. What are your thoughts on him?
I don't want to work with anybody who leads with their sexuality.
But that he doesn't.
But he doesn't.
Yes, he does. He's openly flamboyant. I know Christian Walker. I've
just because he's
briefly
his personality is
if I don't want to, this is what I don't understand. If I'm saying I'm not working with that, why can't that be respected? Okay, cool. You don't want to work with that. I'm literally telling you why. He's openly flamboyant, and I don't associate myself with that. If you're gay, be gay. Like I said, I have gay friends. I have gay family members. I have gay people that I do lives with. They don't lead with the fact that, hey, I'm gay, look at me. They lead with the fact that, hey, I'm American, bro. We need to fight. We need to do this. We need to do that. We need to talk about education. We need to talk about things that are important. I don't have a problem with people being gay. But am I going to work with somebody who's openly flamboyant? No.
That's what Walker does, but he just...
That's great, but he's openly flamboyant. I don't want to work with that.
So because he has a lisp. Like, I think...
I feel like you're purposely, like... poking the bear with me.
I respectfully completely disagree with everything you're saying.
That's great, but
I'm trying.
You're asking me a question.
I'm trying to see it from your perspective because you're
not going to.
Like for example, Nay said Ryan is a Trojan horse. I get that there's the things with just being open and there's children around and all these different things. I get that is a gray area, but when somebody goes on your show talking repeatedly about standing up for all beliefs. And I believe in freedom of speech. I don't believe Westboro Baptist Church should be allowed to have a platform. And he literally was willing to say they are okay in my book.
Yeah.
Like, wow. How in God's name?
How can you say you're for freedom of speech and not support ideas that you do not actually believe in?
Walking contradiction.
That's to me hate speech. When you say that somebody
hate speech is free speech.
Okay, then I don't believe in hate speech.
Yes, there is no such thing as hate speech.
I think that in this country, because of I believe that there's a difference. I do believe that there is a difference between free speech and hate speech. I think if I were to go up to you and say,
is free speech. Threats against me are threats, but speech I hate is free
Westboro
speech.
Baptist threatens people.
Assholes.
Westboro Baptist threatens people based on their sexuality.
They've never.
Correct?
No, they have never. They have never threatened someone based on sexuality. They have said that people dying is a direct result of their sexuality. That's not a threat. That's just being an asshole.
If you believe that you have a direct relation to God and can have him communicate through you, and you say, I smite somebody, I want them to burn in hell for being gay. But I'm saying that's what they believe in. So technically they want them to burn in hell, or they want them to die on this planet. The things that they say about
everybody dies on this planet. Most of us deserve to burn in hell.
You know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean.
I think
Anthony,
it's important to recognize there is an element of grifting happening here.
There is,
and I think
I don't disagree.
I think that's kind of all there is to it. And at the end of the day, is I think Ryan was articulate yesterday on your live. I actually thought he brought some validity to the conversation from a how do we bring conservatives together, where I think there was an opportunity that didn't get had was specifically talking about leading with sexuality forward.
I don't know. And I hear what you're saying, but I don't know how many times I could tell him the same thing. Stop leading with your sexuality. You want to work with people? Stop dressing like a clown. You're not going to get people to want to work with you if they do not like what you're doing. I can't force somebody to work with me. You know, I say curse words and they're like, Soonie, you know, you say curse words, so, you know, we can't have that on our platform. But I'm black. And I got the same message as you. But I'm fighting for your freedoms. You know what? But you say swear words. Yeah, but I'm fighting for your freedoms as well. They don't like that I say swear words. So you know what? I can't go on their show. And I have to be respectful of that. I can't throw the fact, well, I'm black and you're discriminating. No, you say curse words and I don't like that. And I don't want it on my platform. I don't want it representing me.
I think there's a difference. I think there's a difference between you can't come on my show and disqualifying them as a person. I think there's a slight difference.
I didn't do that. And nobody did that on that show. And it won't be represented as if we did. That is not what happened on that show.
At the end of the day, why doesn't Blexit, why doesn't he praise the fact that probably just mainstream GOP supports him as much as the lot? Why is it that he must point out specifically the other intersectional coalitions that support him? It's because conservatives buy into the same intersectional bullshit as the left. That's all it comes down to. It's the exact same thing. It's like, oh yeah, why is Christianity? Why do conservatives conflate Christianity with conservatism? Because they buy into the leftist narrative that Christianity is conservatism.
So this was
conservatism goes back to the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights.
And the Constitution it has every bit of the Bible in it. I don't care how much people try.
It has every bit.
Yo, we can debate this on another show, and I will shut you down on this, bro. I will bring up scriptures, and I will show you exactly where the two scriptures line up.
Just because the writers were Christian does not mean that their intent and their understanding was you must be spiritual.
John Adams says exactly. He says opposing to what you
say.
say.
He says religious, not Christian. And there's a specific reason for it.
He says the Bible. He references the Bible. George Washington references the Bible. Founding fathers reference the Bible.
Wait, Ryan.
Quoted.
Yes, they do. They were Christian.
Cracking me up. Cracking me up.
So I want to wrap this up pretty quick. First off, he said, look at my cat after an hour of being on the show. I don't think that was the attention-seeking part. And I do think there was issues with his argument.
Russo, there was attention speaking. You know, go back and count how many times he mentioned his damn podcast. That was so annoying.
Yeah, he was trying to plug.
He was trying to say, I disagree, because when if I were to say, have you listened to my show, whether I'm straight, gay, comedian, black, purple, and somebody says, no, I'm not going to listen to your stuff, I'm going to keep saying, if you listened to it and understood my point. So that's what I would say. So this is not the time for putting the code up there, Eric, because I want to finish this conversation. So again, I do believe he was attention seeking. I don't think the cat is a good example of it. This is the last thing, and this is where I started. This is where I started to like, okay, I disagree, and I want to know where you're coming from, not just about the gay thing, but he talked about, and this is why you said, then lead as a man that is conservative. So he led as a man that is conservative when he talked about his gun rights. he talked about his conservative beliefs, and he lost his job. And you completely shifted it off, like, and this is coming from somebody that has lost work also for having conservative beliefs, and you slammed him for and you laughed at him, and I don't think that's respectful of even me right now on this show.
So
I'm gonna
because
ask
you don't like it, I'm supposed to feel bad?
No, I'm asking, what was your purpose for that, for being
Because
so...
every conservative is going through that. You're not special. He's not special. Nobody's special. We're all suffering. People are losing their jobs because they don't want to get a shot. Careers. People are losing their jobs because they have political views. It's not just you, and it's not just Ryan. You're not special.
Besides your Instagram pages, what have you lost?
What the fuck do you mean? What have I lost? I've lost family.
Okay, that's fair.
I've lost friends. And I have lost job opportunities.
Well, I think it's fair to say we've all lost some of those things.
So why exactly? So why would you dequalify somebody else's
Because
experience?
I felt like it. Because he was trying to make himself a martyr. Look at me. I lost a job of 7 years. Bro, every American is suffering from that.
But when you were challenging him as somebody that led with his homosexuality, said, drop that right now. Look at the fact that what I speak on has cost me this, and you said, I don't give a shit about that either. So you don't care about him as an individual at that point.
Look, this is about gay stuff, man. And I'm not going to sit here, like I just told you 10 minutes ago. You're not going to poke the bear with me on this subject. If he was straight and he came at me with those same talking points, I would tell him I don't care. It has nothing to do with him being gay. It has everything to do with being a martyr. I felt like he was being a martyr, and I called it out.
When I've talked about the jobs that I've not gotten or the issues that I've had, you've stood by me, and I thank you for that. So what's the difference?
Russo, you're a friend. I don't know this guy from Adam, and I literally just told you why I said what I said. Why is this such a point of contention for you, specifically because he's gay? You know this is why you're bringing it up.
No, I'm bringing, so honestly, the
it's
biggest
because he's gay. Just keep it a band.
The biggest issue I had was that one statement on the show, and that's when I really started to engage and I started to watch, is when he explained his experience that we all have. We have our own experiences, gay, straight, doesn't matter. He explained his experience, and it was flushed like it was nothing. Somebody that stood by his laurels, and I think that the fact that we are promoting people to stand behind your beliefs, don't get the jab, so you don't get if you have to lose your job, lose it. If you have conservative beliefs, speak up. If you have these, don't worry, don't fear losing your job, and if you do, then we support you for your beliefs. And you literally took that one individual instance, and you essentially
just like you did me, Soonie. What have you lost? I lost the job. You literally just did it to me.
Because I was explaining that we've all lost something. And
so how is it any different than what you just did?
Because
I literally said to him, we've all lost something.
Because I will stand behind every person that has lost
then
something.
You stand behind them. I'm an individual. I don't have to. And you're not going to force me to because you don't like it.
All right.
I don't live in this world to appease you, to appease Casey, Easy, or Kevin.
What?
I'm in this world to do what God put me here to do, whatever the Lord has me here to do. I'm not married to none of y'all on the screen, so I don't answer to you. If you don't agree, there's a lot of things we don't agree on.
So
we don't agree on that. And you know what? I respect everybody on this screen. I don't say, well, I don't even challenge y'all. If you support something, I shut up and like, they support that. And you know what? I get on shows every week, even though there are things that you may all agree with that I don't, because that is your business. That is your right. We're supposed to fight for everybody's right to stand up for whatever they want. And you know what? I fight for Ryan's rights to do what he does. But do I like it? No. And I have every right to say I don't like it.
That's 100% agree. I think that's fair.
Unless it's hate speech, right, Anthony?
I don't like hate speech that endangers individuals.
Hateful speech. Hate speech doesn't exist under the First Amendment, but hateful speech does.
I don't believe in judging people, but that's just me. I'm allowed to.
Everybody judges, bro. You judge somebody when they walk down the street. If I think somebody looks let me cross the street. And if I'm in a place with my kids and I don't feel safe, I'm judging the situation. I walk across the street. It's judging. We all judge. We're humans.
I never judge. Okay, I am perfect. In fact, I don't work with people that sin, Soonie. Okay.
And what people don't know is
people are gonna.
we had a conversation off camera, and he actually followed me, and I gave him a follow. So there's no disrespect and there's no love lost between us. It's the people that watch that get in their feelings. And honestly, y'all don't matter. Me and Ryan do. We had our exchange, and he respected what I said. I respected what he said. Same as John. John hit me up like, yo, it was a cool show. You pressed the fuck out of me, but I respect you. Ain't no beef.
I agree on that. And I judge situations, and I'll be honest, I'm human. I judge people as well. Yeah, I think that's part of it. But at the same time, I don't. To go back to the Westboro Baptist Church, I think they're just horrifically hateful human beings. But they're free to do what they want. I don't give a shit.
I'd like to point out it's been an hour since Anthony said it's going to be a nice, tight, short show.
Well, I didn't.
I'm just fucking around.
No, I know.
Okay.
Anyways, I just, again, part of the reason I bring that back is at the end of the day, I sometimes watch, Soonie, you have the most content. So I watch a lot what you do. I love most of the things you do. I just sometimes I believe in supporting. I'm the opposite in terms of the conservative movement. I'm a bring all type person. At this point, I think it's power in numbers. And if we're singling out people, I mean, if somebody's a Trojan horse, then, screw me for my trust.
Would you work with Antifa?
Absolutely not. They're not part of our
Would you
movement.
work with Planned Parenthood?
Would I have a conversation with Antifa?
Would you work with them?
I would choose not to work with them.
Are you singling them out?
No, but I don't think you. I've never said you need to work with Lady MAGA, and I said Blexit and that group, the log cabins, they don't need to work together. If they want to work together, it's the choice of the group.
You don't believe in singling out. Who singled him out?
Who singled who out? Lady
Ryan
MAGA?
Or anybody else who's being singled out?
Well, technically, I guess you did. It was on your show. I don't know what you're asking. I'm sorry.
And I singled him out. How?
I mean, I don't think, to be honest, I don't think anybody singled anybody out. I don't know. I don't understand the question.
Because you just said I don't believe in singling people out.
Well, the distinction is simple. It's that on one side you have a group of people who can choose their behavior. On the other side, you have a group of people who have long-lived behavior that they're trying to change. And if the goals were the same of change my behavior in order to get to a more conservative place, then I think 10 out of 10 times we're going to sit here and say we should all agree that that's the fight that needs to be fought, and we should support each other in that fight. I do have questions as to the grift that comes into play there, and I think that's kind of where the conversation ends, if I'm not mistaken.
I agree with that.
And I agree.
I gave him that criticism. Like, look, if you showed up as Ryan every day, bro, let's go. Let's get this work done.
Yeah, we'd love to see
but
that.
You're dressing as a woman and you're walking
grit,
around calling yourself Lady MAGA. It's not happening.
Yeah, and I guess honestly, when I say singled out, I think he singled out himself by creating the character. So I think that was him doing that from the get-go. But I did say I don't like to single people out, meaning as a whole, if they are like-minded thinkers, I don't like to single anybody out as negative, to be totally honest. Okay, that's probably more accurate. I couldn't take the
and here's some context, so that makes a little bit more sense. Thanks, Mo.
Yeah, that's probably a better way of describing what I was saying. What was the last thing? And we just have a difference in opinion in terms of the way the conservative movement. There is no way to disagree on the Bible. There's just different interpretations, and I believe you're much more rooted in the Scripture than I am. When you said would I work with Planned Parenthood, I think Planned Parenthood has a lot of issues, including bad business practices. But What is she trying to tell you is you can support the community without bringing up gay stuff. I agree. Like, I don't think as a straight man I would lead with gay stuff. Like, hey guys, welcome to the conservative movement. I'm bringing my gay friends along because we're all conservatives. Yeah, you good, gay guy? Like, no, I think that if somebody identifies as, my personal belief, somebody identifies as homosexual that is also a conservative, I don't have a problem with that. I also have different beliefs. We all have different beliefs, and that's why I think it's important that 97% of what we talk about we agree upon, and to think that everybody is going to be perfectly in line with the biblically with Brysons and Sunnis, and I just think for the conservative movement that is going to shrink us in power and in number, and to think that we all have to think exactly the same, I don't see it being functional. And I think that actually is what brings the conservative group down, is by making sure that everybody has to have the same beliefs. And I don't think you feel that way necessarily, Soonie, because you and I both disagree on certain things that are pretty big issues in politics, but we're not always exactly the same on stuff. And I think that there is a huge space for people that have mostly conservative beliefs. And I think that's the other issue. I've said this forever. I said this with Cash. The concept is to realize that we are all going to somewhere have to meet in the middle. And the belief system in terms of this is incredibly far to one direction, and it's not inclusive of a larger group, which I think a larger group is incredibly important. I don't hate you for it. I just disagree with you for that point, because I think it defeats a bigger purpose.
Can I ask, like, this is just a rhetorical question, and it goes back to what Mo said earlier about sometimes you got to block people, in case you kind of concurred on some of this. Sometimes you got to block the dumb ones so that the algorithm, aka the energy, gets spent on the right ones. And I think that this might be one of those situations where there is somebody who needs to be blocked, so to speak, in order for a larger percentage of that group of people to be seen, be heard, and ultimately be included in some of those things. So I'll kind of offer and proffer what Mo said as a way to look at the algorithm from our social media, and say some of that might apply to real life also, which is get rid of the people on these side skirts and start focusing the energy and attention on the people willing to make those changes for the conservative movement, and you might see more of it happening on a broader base. Just a thought. Don't know.
And I want to end on a high note, which is the position that, oh, Woody, you just ruined it. You were about to be a star. He had his neck at a 90-degree angle. Anyways, guys, any final words from everybody?
Vote local. I do want to say, vote local starting Monday, 7 to 9 a.m. Mountain Time. Liberty Revolt is coming at you every single day, Monday through Friday on 1360 KHNC. So if you're interested in more of me, which I assume most of you are not, come check us out on 1360KHNC.com, LibertyRevoltMedia.com every single freaking day, y'all.
I know you want to do it easy. Go for it, easy. Put it up there.
As always, make sure you go get yourself some gear. If you're looking for something that will make a statement for you, let us be those people. AwakeNotWokeStore.com. Please use Omicron for a solid 20% off, and you will get yourself some ugly Christmas sweaters, some nice awake gear. You know, you might just find yourself being an FJ, whatever the acronym here is for F Joe Biden is.
Did you just have a Joe Biden?
Might just find yourself some gear you enjoy.
Let's
go.
Did you
Let's
smoke
go
tonight, easy.
Zero weeds this night. Jeez. Believe it or not.
What kind of pain meds are you on, Casey?
Zero. I totally lost my train of thought with trying to comprehend understand what he even said. All in all, guys, I said this a few weeks ago when we were wrapping up. There's a lot of categories, a lot of things that are being thrown out with people, and the big part is we're all Americans. We all want the best thing for our country. We all want to make sure we're doing the right thing. That's the important part. We got to make sure we do bring some sort of unity. Now, I do agree with Soonie on what she doesn't want Lady MAGA representing him. Cool, representing her and that group. Cool, I'm down with that. That's their choice. But all in all, if it's to gain support and to be able to get people to understand and have these open conversations and dialogues and get actual positive movement of taking our country back, we need to have these conversations and talk with everyone. I don't care what your political stance are. I don't care what your sexual orientation is. None of that. That all goes out the window. We can have a civil conversation and actually hash some of our differences out so we can make our country better. That is what we should be doing.
Yep.
Truth. Soonie, if you're around, you can make the final statement. Ultimately, I want to have a hard conversation like that because we agree on so many things. And I think that there is, as you saw in our comments, we have people that feel a certain way, that feel the same way as you. And then there's people that felt the same way as me. And I think seeing how that conversation goes is incredibly important for people to see, because I think at the end of the day, and Mo, thanks for being in here. I think at the end of the day, realizing that patriots, Christians, can have a difference in opinion. It is not a black and white. It is a 50 shades of gray. There is going to be Soonie. There is going to be me. There is, in my opinion, there's going to be, I mean, you guys remember Blake from Primetime Patriots. There's going to be people that fit into different molds in the conservative movement, and seeing how those conversations. Kevin, you're just the average white male. Let's be honest. At least I have a mustache. But in all reality, there's going to be conversations that have to happen to see where you stand. And I don't want people to agree with me. I want people to see maybe my side of it. And I don't want people to just agree with me and think that Soonie is the quote unquote bigot. I want people to see why biblically she feels a certain way. I think that's an important conversation to have. It doesn't throw out anybody's belief system. And I think that that's why it's important, because ultimately we need I think we just need a bigger movement of people, even if we're not necessarily holding hands down the street, but understanding that from a ballot box all the way to, you know what? Yes, holding hands on the street. We have a bigger movement growing to make sure that we can change whatever the hell is happening in this country. Because I don't think homosexuality is as important as what is happening with mandates and what is happening going against the Constitution and all these different things. And that's why I think it's important to band together across the board. Soonie, if you're there,
pitch a bigger tent.
Soonie,
I like pitching tents.
I'm going to give you 5 seconds if you're going to come back. 5, 4, 3, 2. Have a great night, everybody.